What is up, guys and gals? I am the Mexican Burt Reynolds, and today we are going to have a little bit of footage here in the Nelson, British battleship. This is something that I'm not super familiar with. I haven't went up the British line much at all, minus the DDs. First impression, it is a goofy looking ship. I'm just not... From my World of Tank days, it looks like it would be good at side scraping. So that is what I think of that so far. Now that being said, you know, you have a forward mount triple turret set. Two of them are super firing. One is behind the super firing set. That being said, you really kind of have to give them your side. You have to lift your skirt up there a little bit in order to kind of present the other gun. Now, I am running high X. This is not actually the first game. This is the second game in this. I normally always post the very first game, but instead I said, let me do the second, because I was running AP. And I realized, you know, right as soon as that game ends, I said, wow, I don't think you're supposed to run AP in British battleships because they have such a high fire chance. So that's kind of what we're doing here. We're throwing a lot of HE this game, specifically because of the high fire chance. And as you can see, I'm a little rusty. Sometimes it takes me a little bit longer to kind of calculate you know, the range and the movement, the speed, how much I need to lead someone, just simply because I haven't played in a month or something. But anyway, you know, we're back into it, so we need to kind of you know, division up with some folks and get our skill up here. Now, we are tier 6 here, so I'm very cautious. I don't necessarily want to go in there and you know, get involved, especially with some DDs, torpedoes, what have you. So I kind of need to keep my head on a swivel. And it's not necessarily the point where, you know, you spawn in an isle and you immediately start going backwards because you're in the further spawn. But at the same time, we are going full reverse, simply for the fact that we want to kind of make it harder for folks to try to get some torps on us, as well as kind of minimize the amount of damage we can take here. Doing a little bit of bow tanking here from the front, trying to get a little bit of angle, but at the same time, we don't necessarily want to get hit with these torps here coming R12. It looks like we kind of outlasted them there. But, you know, in fire, guys, fire is just, it's going to happen in any battleship. You just kind of have to be cool with it. Not that I'm cool with it, but, you know, it's there. Now, I would like to say something about the heel on this particular vessel. The heel is absolutely amazing. The damage control is just out of this world. Well, actually, as far as verbiage goes, the damage control on the left there that's kind of pulsing, that is technically damage control. To the right is the heel. I guess it would be repair. I don't know. Whenever I think of damage control, I think of actually repairing or, you know, getting a handle on something. This gentleman right here has been vexing me. We are going to attempt to decorate him, see if we can get some damage there for the torpedoes come through and ruin his face. We did a little bit to him there. Got a little bit of module damage. Decorated him slightly there. 18,000 damage. We're not exactly setting the world on fire. Or maybe we are. But we are, you know, we're being a semi-valuable piece to move around the chessboard that is this particular map. You know, and what that basically means is, what it boils down to is, we're out here, we're receiving fire, we're drawing attention, you know, and as long as you're doing that, you are being a functional part, you know, of the board, so to speak. You're being a useful entity to your team, and that's exactly what we want to do. You don't necessarily, you know, want to set, you know, so far in the back that, you know, you have little to no shots on anybody. The shots you do have are, you know, 16, 17, 18 clicks away. So you just kind of have to get in there. Not saying you have to get up in there, get an Eisenhower style, where you want to get those torps in, but at the same time, You do really just need to kind of, be involved in the game, I guess. Now, moving on here to the matter at hand, folks. I'm kind of scoped to, gosh, I guess our 1 o'clock is the hull lies. Around this island here, it's so hard to see because I'm zoomed in right now. I've been seeing torps go past this island left, right, and center. So very, very quickly, you're going to see me kick the engines off. Simply because we don't necessarily want to accidentally run into a wall of torps. And granted, if the DD in question were to kind of bend that corner, secondaries would pick up. Maybe not kill him, but we darn sure would really put a good stomping on him. And he would definitely think about doing that in the future. Scharnhorst B here, giving up the, man, he's lifting his skirt. Kind of wish I had AP loaded. I think about it and then just immediately just discount it. Can't remember what commander I have in this. Golly, he's only a 7. I did actually. I have all the British commanders, so he is the battleship guy. So you're going to see a lot of the dispersion that kind of, gosh, I want to say parallels some of the American battleships. I don't know if that's going to make people mad or not, but the dispersion is pretty good on this ship. I like it. And it may be mostly from the captain, or it may be a mixture of the two. Now, granted, he's no William Sims, but at the same time, he's only level 7. Neither here nor there. Recently, as in a month ago, you guys know I went up the Bismarck line, and golly, if it wasn't for the secondaries, I wouldn't be able to hit anything in the Bismarck. It's just not happening. I just anytime I mention dispersion or precision, I'm going to mention the Germans, which is really odd because they are an engineering people, and you think their guns would be a little bit tighter than normal. I'm going to leave that one alone. What do I know? Now we're backing off here. We're getting cross-torped at this time. That is exactly what's happening. We have torps coming from the fore. We have torps coming from the starboard. Not necessarily okay with that. We take, I think it was 2 just now. The heel on this thing, golly, it is amazing. I'm going to call it a heel, even though I don't necessarily agree with it, but the heel is amazing. I think if you really had a properly stacked commander, possibly hide on here, you could really, turn it from something that's good and just exploit the mess out of it. You could really abuse it, honestly. And as far as damage goes, 37,000. 5 remaining friendlies versus 4 remaining bad guys. And going back to the damage, 37,000. That is not amazing by any stretch of the imagination. But you know what? For somebody who doesn't play battleships and hasn't played in a month, I'm going to take it. We're going to serve it. Serve anyone, just like a blind waiter. We are taking some high X there from the starboard side. We're not going to go ahead and bother on repairing that, not like we could anyway, but the only time you're going to really see me use my damage control is, when you're low health and you don't really have that HP to burn. Literally. You don't have that HP to burn, and you don't have a whole lot of options. You need to stay in the game, so on and so forth. That's the only time you're really going to see me go forward and make that happen. I'm going to try to get all 3, primary armaments on this gentleman right here. Gosh, that dispersion is nice and tight. It's man, I enjoy seeing that fly through the air like that. Now, this ship doesn't have a ridiculous arc, but it doesn't necessarily have a completely flat arc as far as the rounds go. So you may have to kind of adjust your times a little. It seems like I've almost had to kind of shorten up my range estimates just a tiny bit, because it seems like the shells are just a touch faster or a little bit flatter arc than what you're used to. Speaking of the British battleships. I actually got the Warspite out of a crate. Gosh, I got the Warspite and something else. So expect Warspite videos coming very, very soon. I've heard a lot of folks talk about how much they love the Warspite. So I definitely want to get involved in that. And who knows, I may even be a British BB guy. Eventually, I don't know. I don't necessarily think anything's going to get me out of loving the DDs, or cruisers. I just don't know. Decorated this gentleman right here. He's the one I believe that put Torps to me earlier. Not necessarily a fan. We're decorating him a little bit there. Another thing I really enjoy on this particular ship is the camo scheme, the paint on the side. I think it looks really, really good. Nice and it's colorful, but it's not overdone. And I kind of enjoy that type of look on something. Going back to the top of the board there, it is a 4v2 type situation. One cruiser and a DD left. I do a nice little kind of spread right here, miscalculate, don't even end up connecting with this gentleman. That's fine. We're going to bring her about and try to kind of nose up behind this island. And this is the kind of the situation where I put out the fire almost right away, simply because we don't really have a whole lot of HP to work with. And he's firing HE simply because, once I go nose on, he's not going to do a whole lot to me with armor piercing. And, honestly, that's the right thing to do, Especially if you've got somebody low health, you have a chance of going out there and making them burn out. 67,000 damage. This is the only gentleman left on the map. It is a 4v1 type situation. It does not look good for me, finessers, friends, and folks. I am going to begin to pray to my dear and fuzzy Lord, because it's just not happening. I want to try to farm as much damage as possible here before I exit stage right. We decorated him right there, and then we immediately burn out. And it looks like I died as soon as somebody else on our team died, which I'm sure he thought he was really getting the hang of it. He was like, oh wow, I got this. This is alright. 66,000 damage though. Ended that on the second game. It's not Shakespeare by any stretch of the imagination, but you know what? We're going to take it. We're going to serve it. We're going to like it. We're not going to love it. We're going to like it. Ended up going ahead and taking that gentleman out there, thanks to the British DD. Big ups to him for kind of holding us down, because you know what? They would have won on points. 66,428 damage. Quite a little chunk of credits right there, folks. I really hope you enjoy. Make sure to like, subscribe, share, and we will catch you guys next time.